Chelsea,
Hello.
I have cut your hair before, haven't I?
Many, many times, probably.
Many, many times. I have known you for how long?
20 years? Or longer?
And
more.
we've been friends like since the day we met through church, right?
Right. We were teenagers.
Do you want to take
not
off your
even
glasses?
teenagers. Yeah, I can do that.
Perfect.
We're young.
And we want to cut about 4 inches off.
Sure, sounds
Add
great.
some angles, a little bit of layering.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
cool.
all in your hands.
And this is how you part your hair?
Yeah, it automatically goes there.
Cool. All right, so this is my first haircut in the RV. Are you so excited?
I am so excited.
I'm so excited. So we got here, it's been almost a week. We've
Yeah.
been staying on your property.
We got here
And
last Tuesday.
you live in Kentucky, but you were not born here.
No.
Where were you born?
I was born in Washington State.
Washington State. And then you moved to Virginia when you were how old?
I was in 2nd grade.
Okay.
So 8-ish? 9-ish?
Were you in Richmond then?
Yeah.
Oh, so we met then,
Yeah, it had to have been.
8 or 9.
So, yeah. Long time we've known each other.
So almost 30 years.
Oh my goodness. How are we that old?
I know, right? So one of the reasons why I decided to do this trip is because I was inspired by you. And you and your family did the RV life, full-time family, for 3 years?
3 years.
And what made you decide to do that?
We loved it. So we were living in a house. We had our first son, and we just kept saying that there was more to life than waking up, rushing breakfast, rushing him to daycare, coming home, doing dinner, bath, and bed, seeing my son, maybe 2 hours a day. There had to be more to life than that. So at first we just started looking for land, cheaper house, so that I could stay home. But as we looked at many different towns in Utah, nothing seemed right. And then we were like, on a whim, should we just do RV life?
Had you read about it or known somebody that did it? Like, why did you just decide that? Because I've never heard of anybody other than you that has done this.
Yeah. So, Josh and I actually did RV life 2 years before we had kids. So we had already done it, but I had started following a bunch of people on Instagram, TikTok, about people who were full-time RVers. And I researched it extensively. Josh was, let's do it tomorrow. I researched forever. And then I found that there is a huge community of people out there that are just traveling together. And so then my husband ended up getting 100% disabled for the military. And that just solved all of our financial. Do we need a job on the road? So as soon as that happened, right around the same time that we were researching RV, and that just made the decision for us. We're like, yeah, we can do this now. So we sold our house, put things in storage, and
Was it scary?
it was, I thought I was going to be scared. It was more exciting. I was so excited to be home with my kids. I was excited for my husband to be home because he was always gone. His commute to work in the busy town of Utah was like an hour. And by the time he got home, it was so late. Carson was ready for bed and he just never saw us. And then I hated just living life for the weekends. We just couldn't wait for the weekends. And I was like, there has to be more to life than this. So I was more excited. We went slow at first, and our first trip actually was to an organization called Fulltime Families, and they were doing a get-together in Albuquerque, New Mexico for the Balloon Festival. And there was, I'd say like 30 to 40 families there. And we were 3 days on the road, and we met all these people who have been on the road for years. And they were so welcoming, and we learned so much while we were there. And we just knew right then and there that this was amazing. And then 3 years passed, it goes so fast. We've done so much.
So how many states have y'all been to?
Oh man, we mainly did West Coast, and we went down to Baja, Mexico for 5 months. We went to Canada for 2 or 3 months, and then we came to the East Coast, and the original plan was to do the East Coast, but then we just both were like, we want to homestead. So we ended up coming to Kentucky because we driven through it multiple times, and we love Kentucky. So we came here, we found property that we absolutely loved, and moved here.
Well, I mean, I've been here for almost a week now, and it is really beautiful. Like the caves that you've brought us to,
Yes.
the waterfalls are just
Which is
breathtaking.
gorgeous here.
Like I can totally understand why you want to live here. The tornadoes kind of scare me.
Yeah, it scared me too at first because we get tornado warnings more
Yeah.
often than I'm used to.
But there's a lot of mobile homes here.
There are. And talking to people who grew up here, they've never had a tornado here before. They've had tornado warnings, but they never experienced one. And I know I mean, anything could happen. We do want to get a storm shelter. But
I mean, scary things happen everywhere.
Everywhere.
So,
You're
like
not
when you were
gonna-
on your trip, did you experience anything?
we did.
super
We
scary?
experienced a tornado where we had to go to the bathhouse. I forget where that was. And then hurricanes and floods, and I mean, there's going to be weather everywhere you go. There's not a perfect state for weather.
Was there ever a time when you were like, what did we do? Like, this is really a bad situation.
Honestly, no. I mean, every now and then we'll be like, okay, we're a little cramped in the RV. But that's when
your RV was
huge.
ginormous.
I know, it's huge. But that's when we were like stuck inside. If it was raining, we just like, all right, we just gotta get out. And as soon as we went out in nature, it just refills your soul, and it was fine. It's good again. So no, not really. There's never a time we regretted it. And it was actually really hard to leave the road. And I would go back in a heartbeat, but I love homestead and farm life so much that I don't know if I could.
So
But always one day.
Y'all went from having cats and dogs only, right?
Yes.
To cats, dogs, goats, sheep, chickens, rabbits.
Yes.
And how did
In
you...
all a matter of a year.
In
We've only been
a
here
year. A
Yeah.
year. That's crazy.
And a giant garden and fruit trees and grapevines, and we love it. We absolutely love it.
I mean, your property is a paradise. So did you have to like do any research to figure out which animals y'all were gonna, have on your homestead, or how did you collect them?
Before we decided to settle down, we had been researching homestead. We kind of had flopped in our brains. It just kind of a switch flipped, and we, instead of watching RV TikToks or Instagrams, we switched to homestead, and we're like, this is what we want to do next. So we kind of researched about what animals would be beneficial, like milk goats, meat goats, or meat chickens, egg chickens. So yeah, we did research, but
Did you decide on the milk goats?
We did.
And what happened to the milk?
We milked them once, and it did not taste how I expected it to taste. But we're gonna try again. We don't have a barn, so we have to milk them outside. And it's springtime with lots of rain, and the goats don't like to be out in the rain.
Yeah.
So I couldn't just drag the goat out to be milked in the rain. So I feel like timing is bad on that, but I want to try different things like cooling it off faster and different things that you can do to make it taste better. I hear it's sweet and
your experience was it was sour,
it was
right?
yeah. But they weren't on pasture then either. They were just on grain, so maybe that makes a difference too.
Yeah, I don't know anything about goats yet.
Yeah. So we're hoping that will be. If not, then we'll just switch out of goats and do something else. We want a milk cow one day, a Jersey cow. So maybe we'll just switch.
Now, you've experienced some loss on your farm, and how has that affected you, your children, your family, and which animals?
They have chickens and a cat and a sheep. But my kids know, even right off the bat, before we got animals, we told them that these are farm animals. These aren't the pets, and we are raising them to either eat or do something for us to eat or drink. So they love them like pets, obviously, but knowing that they're farm animals and that happens to farm animals, they have taken it great, honestly. They haven't been as sad as I thought they would be when we had to put a chicken down, or so they're adjusting to farm life well. But of course they're kids who get emotional too, so.
Yeah, well, I think it's really good because it teaches about death, honestly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of kids, they don't experience death. And actually, I had, when one of our dogs passed away, Maple was telling her teacher at school about her dog that had passed away, and she said, our dog died. And the teacher said, oh, we don't talk about that. But I think that's wrong, because I think it's very important. It's a part of life, right?
Yeah. Like, you don't want your first experience to be a grandparent or
right, because that is very
that's
emotional.
Hard, yeah.
And so they're already understanding what death is and like how we should react to it.
But what they have, we're grateful for what they've given us while they were here, and we're respectful of that.
I think that's beautiful.
It's been a great experience.
And I got to pick blackberries with your son, and he got up into the bushes and is like afraid of nothing. I mean, he said he was afraid of spiders and snakes, but both spiders and snakes are in there, and he's in there doing it.
His love of those blackberries, he'll do it.
I think that's great.
They've both been tremendous.
So what does your future look like?
Honestly, here, but take it day by day and figure out what life brings us.
Well, it seems like you have everything you need. Do you
I
feel
know.
like you're lacking anything?
I mean, we can always use more stuff, like a barn, but to be happy and fulfilled in life, no. We have this beautiful property, this beautiful land, and our family, and we love to go and experience and have fun and build things together. And no, I feel very grateful and blessed and fulfilled in life.
That's so awesome. One thing you had mentioned about the RV life was like the community. Do you feel like you have a strong community here?
I was scared to leave that community. But I had to learn to put myself out there, so I went to the library activities. I joined the home school club here. I joined the Homestead club in the library. So at first, it was hard because we didn't have people on the road. We were traveling with families on the road, so we were with them for multiple months. So it was a little lonely, and we were worried about our kids not having friends, but that very quickly changed. And we put ourselves out there to all the different people here in Kentucky who are so sweet and so nice.
Your kids have always been homeschooled?
Yes.
What made you decide to do that, other than the fact that y'all were on the road?
Even before, even if we weren't going on the road, I knew I was going to homeschool. I know I've seen kids in school and how they talk or treat their parents or treat their friends, and I didn't want my kids to learn that or grow up with that. And
Were you homeschooled ever?
I was not ever homeschooled, and I was actually very anti-homeschool. When before we had kids, I was like, oh my gosh, I could never be a teacher. Like, I couldn't do that. But then I had my kid, and he was in daycare for a year, and that was the hardest year. And he learned so many bad habits, and I just knew that I wanted to be home to teach them not just what 2 + 2 is, but teach them how to garden and how to be kind people and
like life skills.
Yeah,
right?
life skills. More to life than just the same people that you grow up with in your grade and sit in a desk for 8 hours. Just like there was more to life for me, I knew there was more to life for my kids than school life.
You have changed and grown so much since we were kids. Like,
Absolutely.
You were very shy, you were quiet. I've always loved you like my sister. You were definitely just more of a like go with the flow, follow along kind of person.
I was so quiet and so shy growing up.
And just watching you take charge, going out there, feeding the goats, watering your plants, and showing me all the things that you do every day, I'm just blown away at how much you've changed.
Yeah.
What do you think kind of attributed to all of that?
Honestly, I don't know. I just becoming a mom, maybe.
And wanting like different for them?
Yeah, wanting different for my kids than, not that I had a terrible childhood at all, but yeah, I don't know. I knew I had to advocate for my kids and give them a good life, which required me to be more vocal and stand up and make the life that we want. Nobody was going to do it for me. I had to do it.
That's awesome. I'm really proud of you for all that
Thank
you've
you.
done. Like, you've really created a beautiful family and a homestead and so many memories for your kids and so many adventures.
Yes, we're very, very blessed.
So, you're a nurse, right?
Yes.
You have your degree in nursing?
I do have my degree. I haven't practiced in a few years because I've been home, but yes.
But it's kind of nice to have that, so
Yeah.
if anything were to happen, I mean, you did take a tick off my back and put some, like, extraction pomade on it, so that's cool. Are you getting into more holistic options, or how do you feel about the medical industry, the way that it is right now?
Yeah, absolutely. One reason why I don't know if I could honestly go back to nursing, is I do want to completely go more holistic and homeopathic and naturalist.
What brought you to that?
RV life, the people you meet, they are more of that lifestyle, and I got to learn through them and saw that the benefits of all these natural things instead of pumping our bodies with antibiotics and depression pills. And so I definitely switched my mindset there, which is hard being a nurse because I didn't learn that in nursing school, obviously.
Yeah, what kinds
So I
of
had to
things?
switch. Like
did they ever talk about nutrition in nursing school, or the importance of?
Tiny bit, but most of it was learning medications, pharmaceuticals, and the vaccine timeline and how to get vaccines. And
Did you stop working before COVID, or?
Right before, it was March of 2020. I had been a year working, and every day for a year dropping my son off at daycare, he would cry. And then they switched it to where I couldn't even come in anymore. So I just had to drop him off at the door, and I was like, this is not gonna work, because he could barely let go inside if I was in there for like 10 minutes with him. And then I just found out I was pregnant. They were doing vaccine mandates at my work, and it was my time to go. I couldn't do all of that. So I brought my baby home and
Never looked back.
Never looked back. And it's been amazing to watch them grow up.
Now, you said that it's more common, the holistic method for RVers. Do you think it's because of the lack of insurance, because they're traveling so much? Or why do you think that they go holistic?
I think it's mainly the type of people that have that mindset already are the ones that are going with the RV life. It's not the people that live in the city that want to, I don't know, it's just, you have to have a certain mindset to want to do the RV life. And it's more a minimalist thing. You don't have all the grand things in an RV. And then
I'm cutting hair in my kitchen.
Yeah, and it's great. But I don't know. I think it's certain people that will do this lifestyle, and it seems to be, they all seem to have the same mindset and the same wanting to better themselves physically, mentally, spiritually, and one of that is holistic. And I've learned a lot of homeopathic and holistic ways through many people.
I know, I'm jealous of your cabinet full of like tinctures and teas and all of that. I need to learn more about that because I'm very into holistic medicine and using what God gave us as like the number one source, and then going to medicine if those things are not enough.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that God provides everything that we need.
Right, absolutely. But there's also a time and place that modern day medicine will help somebody, and that's great.
For sure. A dandelion is not going to fix a broken arm.
Exactly.
You know?
So.
But I think it's so, knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely. And I've learned so much, and I still don't know everything holistic naturally that I could learn, but.
And you brought me to a homestead group at the library that was just a group of women or people that got together. Mm-hmm. And how long ago did y'all start that?
So we started it first. A friend of mine started it. She did classes, and it was like once a week classes. One would be like on animals, one would be on gardening, one would be on water, like saving water. So we did once a week for probably like 2 or 3 months, and then we were done with classes, but we still wanted to get together. So we just created the club where we get together once a month now and exchange ideas or plants or have too many tomatoes or I need help with my tomatoes and just get together. And we have a Facebook group, so if we need help, we can always ask these group of people that are doing the same thing that we are in our own town and community.
You're like creating communities wherever you're at.
No, it's amazing actually. Community is helpful.
I think that society is really lacking community these
Absolutely.
days, and a majority of people don't have a close-knit community unless they belong to a church.
Yeah.
But you guys don't belong to any church right now.
We do not.
So this is kind of like you've created this. You're both very spiritual people, it seems like.
Absolutely. No, God is everywhere.
And you kind of realize that when?
It's probably been a few years now.
Did you realize that like on your journey as an RVer?
Yeah, because we obviously started hiking more and going out more, but we didn't go to church per se, but it always felt very spiritually fulfilled after a hike and seeing the beautiful land that we've been on and hikes and mountains. And so I don't know, we used to go to church every Sunday, that changed, and we just kind of stopped going. But
Which church did y'all go to?
we went to the LDS Mormon Church.
Because we grew up in the LDS church together.
Mm-hmm.
And was there a reason why y'all stopped going?
So I met my husband, and he's not Mormon, but I decided to get married anyway. And then after that, we tried to go together. He grew up Baptist, so it was a little different for him. And then we just kind of stopped going. Not that we stopped believing at all. We still say prayers with our kids and talk about God, and
Did you stop believing in the Mormon church, or just you didn't stop believing in like anything in specific?
No, it's not that I like stopped believing or thinking. I just didn't feel like I had to go to a certain church to be saved or
be connected to God.
Yeah, be connected. Like I didn't have to go on Sunday to talk to God. I didn't have to go. Yeah, I don't know. It just, even going to church, it never felt like I was getting much out of it, or wasn't feeling like the Spirit and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But going out hiking or sitting outside at sunset, like that's when I felt the closest to God and could talk to him.
Yeah, I think that there was a time when I didn't have time to go outside. I would go to work all day, and then I would come home, get ready for the next day, and I realized the only time I stepped outside was to get in my car.
Right.
And when I was reading the Bible, and it said that we are the stewards of the land, and I was like, well, we're doing a pretty shitty job at that, for one.
Absolutely.
And then on top of that, like, we're not even outside anymore.
Mm-mm.
And
society's not. They don't go outside. And I knew that there was more to life than that. And then you're realizing that, and
yeah,
there's more to life than just a job or school.
paying
or
bills,
paying
paying taxes,
Yeah.
paying for insurance, paying for food,
We
paying
only
for
get one life.
that we know of, right?
Yeah, that we know of.
So we might as well enjoy all of what God has created for us.
And always learn new things.
This is looking really cute.
Good. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. All right, I'm gonna dry it now, and then do you mind if I put some waves in it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Do you want to see it before I put the waves in it?
No, it's fine. I trust you. Go
Cool.
for it.
All right. Do you have any products in your hair?
I do not.
Okay. Let me see what I want to
I
put.
just washed it last night, and that was it.
So I have these products that I found. They're by A Simple Planet, and they're all plant-based and made in
That's
California by a wonderful woman named April. And I have loved everything, and I discovered them because I was trying to find everything that's plant-based, natural, no artificial fragrances. I know that's a big deal for you too.
It absolutely. We have slowly been transforming everything in our home. Make my own dishwasher soap, laundry soap.
I know. I think that's awesome.
There's so much in these products that you don't think about it, but it's leaching into your skin, number one organ.
Right.
Messing the hormones, everything.
So your hair is basically dry.
Yeah.
So. So sorry if I made you sweaty, because we do not have air conditioning right now. I am boondocking, so that means I am living off of Chelsea's property right now with a generator going so that we have lights and I can use the blow dryer, but we can't use the air conditioning and the blow dryer at the same time. So that is why we are doing the sweaty hair version. So
Yeah.
that's okay.
Right. Yes.
But I so appreciate you letting us stay on your property. It helps us out so much. And like the things that you have done with us, like taking us on so many adventures. I mean, we wouldn't have known all the places that we saw were not like on any kind of pamphlet that you had up at the house. All the ones on the pamphlets are like caves that you have to pay to see.
Right.
Because those are all going to be tourist grabs, right?
Yeah. There's so many beautiful places out in America.
We went to Daniel Boone National Forest, is that?
Yeah.
And we saw a waterfall there, or two waterfalls.
Yeah, one was a state park waterfall, and one was just a waterfall just in the forest.
And we sat on rocks in caves eating our lunch.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, my kids got to collect frogs and see different kinds of mushrooms, and it's just so cool to watch our kids get excited about those things because most kids don't do that anymore.
You don't.
I mean, last night our kids were running around at 9 o'clock at night chasing fireflies in jars, in like old soup jars.
Old jars.
And
but that's what I did as a kid.
That's what I did too.
Yeah. But now they don't.
I'm sure there are lots of kids that do, but
No.
not the ones that my kids were playing with.
Right.
When we were back home, you know, everybody had to get ready for bed to go to school the next day. And now they get up in a leisurely time. They're not crying about having to get up and get ready at 6 a.m. To get ready for school. And they can go out and feed the rabbits with you and get the chicken eggs from your backyard pen, and I think that's just so incredible.
It is. Just a slower pace of life, which we're okay with. We're okay with the slower.
And if anything were to happen, like the pandemic happened, you guys have a garden with food that you can eventually, so that you have food year round. Absolutely. You have meat, goats, sheep. You have definitely enough eggs. I mean, I've been eating your eggs every single day, and you'll have enough eggs to provide for yourself.
Yeah. No, and that's what we wanted, because we've seen obviously 2020, and we wanted to sustain ourselves if anything were to happen.
Well, and how would you say that this is different than like a prepper mentality? Because I mean, growing up in the LDS church, there was always this like, oh, you have to have food storage, you have to have, you know, enough food for you and your family to survive a disaster or some sort of, I don't know, something terrible happening. And it was this like always, okay, have a stocked with your pantry full of dried things that were, you know, made by businesses from the church. So now, how would you say that's different? So
we're not prepping for anything catastrophic to happen, but we want to grow our own food or raise our own food for the health benefits, not just to be scared something's going to happen, but to better our lives. But if something were to happen, we would be okay.
Yeah.
But also to better our lives today by eating food that's nutritious and healthy.
Do you do everything organically?
We try. As we all know, organic food, we grow our own organic, but when we buy, obviously it's like, more money. But no, our garden,
The goal is to have everything organic.
Yeah.
You just I know. I get it.
We can't afford everything organically. But when we build or we grow our own, yes, it's organic.
Because we're kind of the same way. Like when we were growing on our homestead, we did it organically. But like if we were to go to a grocery store and organic is 3 times the price, that's like a hit you in the gut. Like, okay, do we get 4 apples of organic?
Yeah.
And just everybody gets 1 apple for that week?
Exactly.
Or buy a bag of apples and maybe just wash them?
Right.
It's really a hard decision, and unfortunately, like, if you are in a certain level of how much money you make, you're not going to be able to afford organic.
Yeah.
But
I do, and to be able to do this lifestyle with us both home, we have to take a huge pay cut, obviously, with us not working, but that's the sacrifice that we're willing to make to have this life.
Yeah. And eventually, I mean, y'all are just a year in.
Yeah.
So eventually you will have that stockpile of canned goods. And I mean, this morning you made sourdough pancakes and homemade syrup. And I thought, like, oh, how cool would that be to just make all your own food,
you
know?
And it's very possible. You just have to learn or teach yourself, because it's not something we grew up knowing how to do.
Right.
So,
I mean, both our parents worked. Your mom and dad worked. My mom and dad worked.
Right.
And that's what people did, you know?
Yeah. Not that they were bad parents. It's just they did what they could with what they had. And
absolutely.
Well,
that's the time period.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody had to have a 2-income household. And I kind of looked at my mom like, oh, she's the OG feminist, you know, like she got a job, she worked hard, she was a medical technologist, very educated woman, and, you know, but there are side effects to having 2 parents that are working.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of things in the industry that promised, oh, this is going to be amazing, this is going to be great, but then it turned out that those were kind of lies, you know, like, one, having 2 parents work, having a woman going back to work, and then you have your kids sitting in front of a TV.
Yeah.
And you have kind of that latchkey lifestyle, which taught us to be independent.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know? And then the food that had to be convenient for 2 parents that were working.
Yeah.
And we still have that today.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. It is hard when we come home from work at 5:30 or 6 and you can't cook the grand, delicious homemade meal.
Right.
It's too hard.
So convenient food was kind of pushed upon our parents, right?
Yeah.
And now we have to struggle with like, oh, okay, just because I grew up that way doesn't mean that's the best way.
And that's taken me many years because I did, even growing up with just my little kids, I would make the same things and do the same things. And now I'm like, wow, look at the ingredients in these foods. We should try to change what we eat.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to change that.
When do you think that kind of started for you looking at ingredients?
That was, I would say about the time that we started RV life, which was 2021.
With your kids or on your own?
With my kids, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I had kids. After I had kids, I was more wanted to know what I was feeding them and what I was putting into their bodies. And me, because of the mental health I had after Carson, my son, I wanted to try to change it without medication, and everything said diet.
What kind of mental health things were you going through?
So I struggled really bad with postpartum depression and then anxiety, which turned into rage. And so I was either sad and didn't want to be here anymore, or angry at my 1-year-old who was a tiny little perfect saint, but obviously I was just angry at everything that he was doing. So something had to change, and it was a mental health had to change, and I didn't want to go medication route.
Why did you not want to go medication?
I didn't want to be a zombie. I've seen people on medications. I was scared to not be myself anymore, I guess. I didn't want to put medication. I do not like taking medication into my body. So researching it was stop the seed oils, stop the fragrances in your home, stop all these things that are in everyday food, the dyes, everything. That it's in all food. It's so hard to get away from, but
and it's expensive if you want to do it without it.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it, but it is expensive and it takes more time and more cooking and reading labels.
The RV life, it could so easily be you just go get fast food all the time, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys do that?
We started out, we would stop and eat like for lunches, and then we quickly realized how expensive that is, and then how terrible we felt actually. Like our stomachs were we were over fast food very quick.
Yeah.
So then we started making lunches and stuff, but it was very convenient because you're like, oh, it's a travel day, like let's just stop and get lunch. And
but like once a week might be a travel day for us, so
right.
I know we went to Chick-fil-A once because we had a gift card from a friend of mine, which was super nice because it happened to be that the RV park that we were at had to cut off the water for the day so that they could fix a water line. And so we're like, oh, okay, we'll leave and we'll go, do something out of here so that we don't have to deal with that. But I could see the lure of that being like, okay, well, that was convenient and easy. We're not having to think about water. We're not having to think about cleaning the RV. Yeah. But then we also cooked outside the rest of the week on an open fire.
That's awesome. I love that you guys do that.
And it was delicious, and it tasted much better, and it was a fraction of the cost.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And it does take a different adjusting to cook an RV, as you know. It's smaller kitchens, smaller everything, but it's absolutely doable.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your kitchen with me and teaching me your ways of sourdough. Yes. And I'm excited to test out my abilities of keeping my bread pet alive while on the road.
It's not as hard as I made it out to be when I first started.
I don't know.
I was very stressed about it, and I was measuring perfect things. But honestly, you just give it some flour and some water, it's not going to go anywhere.
But if people have sourdough starters that are 100 years old, that must tell you something.
Yeah.
Like, this is so important. And I feel like there was, during the pandemic, a craze of sourdough. And I was pregnant during that time, and I did not have time nor the mental capacity to learn anything new.
And I hate doing fads, so I was like, well, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, my dad did it for a little while, and it was good.
Yeah.
It was delicious. I think that we lose so many ancient life skills. We're forgetting them, and the people that know them are dying.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm
you can ask them.
We got to learn these things. Like, how do I, know what to plant next to what so that it grows better, and what kind of the diatomaceous earth you can put on things so that bugs don't eat it, and
instead of spraying it with bug control. Absolutely.
But it's going away, and we have to figure that out before it goes away.
We have to teach ourselves.
One company that I really love is Origin USA, and it's a made in USA men's clothing line. They are coming out with some women's clothing, but I bought some workout clothes from them, and they bought this old factory, I think in North Carolina, with a loom that only one guy who was in his 80s, I think, I'm probably saying that totally wrong, but he is really old, and he was the only one that knew how to work it, and they had to contact him and get him to teach them how to work it so that art was not lost.
Right.
And I think about, like, with all the technological advances and stuff, it's going to happen where we're going to lose a lot of that, art.
Yeah.
And it's going to be replaced by machinery, which sounds great, except those are jobs of humans.
Mm-hmm.
That is an art form that would be lost. The better quality of certain techniques will be gone.
Mm-hmm.
You look at some of these museums or at the nature centers and, just how they've crafted certain things. Native tribes would spend hours and hours making a beautiful basket. And then you can just buy a basket from Amazon made out of plastic and it's arriving in your door in 24 hours, where it might have taken them a week to make, and that basket you would have for many, many years, and then it's made out of natural resources and it can just go back into the earth. But then that Amazon basket that's made out of plastic by possibly slave labor in a foreign country where, none of our American workers are getting anything from it. And then that plastic is going to be here for hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me so sad.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do about it?
All we can do is teach ourselves and our kids and do our part, and then try to teach others if they're willing to listen and learn. But you're going to be doing a great job on this mission to go and teach your way of life and your story. But
yeah, I think teaching our children, the importance of it.
Absolutely.
I don't think we need any more YouTube stars. I'm not doing this channel as to be a YouTube star.
Yeah.
I don't want to be...
You've never been that type. Electronical, you've never been that type.
I am the opposite of technological.
Yeah.
I just, it's sad to me when my oldest is like, oh, can I have a YouTube channel? I want to say subscribe,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's all I hear.
That's not what it should be about. It's not like I want someone to follow me. It's I have something I want to share that is important to help, people keep something alive.
Yeah.
Versus trying to share how I can be famous.
Yeah. Right. I'm excited to see your mission and your journey and hearing all the stories that you're going to get to hear.
Well, it's always evolving, always changing, and I hope I can just be a tool, be the servant of God, and just allow Him to guide me in what I should say and do along the way.
And I've seen it since you've been here.
Thank you.
I've seen it, and it's been amazing to watch. And to see your transformation over the last year or so has been amazing to watch.
It's definitely a journey. Life is a journey.
Absolutely.
And one thing I did learn, I think maybe it was when we went to EFY together, or maybe I went with Haley. It was, there's joy in the journey, joy in the climb. And you need to enjoy every part of it and not just the end,
right.
Not the finale.
Or waiting for something better to happen in life.
Right.
You gotta enjoy the now.
You gotta enjoy it. And not waste it.
No. So short. So long, but so short.
I know, this week has flown by.
Flown by.
Each day I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 2 o'clock already.
I know.
Where did the day go? But it's because we've been enjoying it,
Mm-hmm.
I do use this hairspray. It's the only hairspray I have found. It's Redken's 32 Max Hold Triple Pure, and it has no fragrance, no artificial fragrance.
I can tell from the smell.
So this is the only thing I have found, which is still not great for the earth, but it's better than anything else I have found.
Yeah. I'm super excited.
All right. Sorry I don't have a mirror, but you can take a look and see
Oh
how
my
you feel.
goodness! That is beautiful.